Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time today, the Security Council had a joint meeting attended by both the humanitarian side as well as the political side, dealing with the commonly called Syrian crisis. Today, Mr. de Mistura attended the meeting next to Mrs. Kong, who was representing, as you know, OCHA via satellite from Geneva. So we think that this development in itself is rather a positive one, because in one meeting, the members of the Security Council are able to address both the humanitarian aspect as well as the political aspect, which Mr. de Mistura has just presented and briefed you about it. However, we have a couple remarks pertaining to the session of today's. The first remark is that while Mrs. Kong referred to the fact that the violence has reached unprecedented levels, she did not specify the reasons of this increasing of the level of violence. She talked about the influx of the number of what she called refugees and displaced persons, but she did not specify the reasons why all these millions of Syrians fled their country or fled their towns and villages. She did talk about the terrorist explosions in Homs that killed scores of innocent children next to their schools, but she did not specify who did it. So all these alarming ways of dealing with the bloody developments, bloodshed and bloody developments in Syria poses an ethical problem and moral problem for us and for my government. We would have wished to see the Secretariat more aligned towards taking side against terrorist activities in Syria, especially that nowadays, after a long time of denial, the so-called international community came up with the conclusion that what the Syrian government was saying for years turned to be absolutely true. We are facing mercenaries coming from 83 countries. We are facing terrorists coming from all over the world, sponsored, trained in secret camps, they used to be secret camps. Now they are public in Jordan, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. And we know that the monitors and the instructors are the Americans, French, and British. So no more secrets with regard who is sponsoring the terrorists in Syria and who is the main reasons behind this flux of terrorists called ISIS or ISIL or Jabhat al-Nusra or whatsoever. Nobody would be convinced of the possibility for an Australian terrorist to leave Sydney and then find himself within 24 hours near Aleppo or near Damascus fighting against the Syrian government. And then somebody in this Secretariat, especially the spokesperson, still insists that these Australian or French or Saudi or Libyan or Tunisian or Turkish terrorist is a rebel, a Syrian rebel. I don't know how he could combine these two contradictory identities of the same terrorist. So we have an ethical problem that should be dealt with accordingly by the representatives of the Secretariat. Then the second point is that while Mr. de Mistura, and we commend his efforts, and we would like to hear more about his proposal soon. While Mr. de Mistura is speaking about the political settlement, of course, this is what Syria needs, a political settlement. But then if we want to facilitate the task of Mr. de Mistura, as well as to the Syrian government and the members of the Security Council, then we will have to address the issue in its panoramic picture, in its entirety, in its comprehensiveness. We cannot ignore the Turkish disruptive role played in Syria. We cannot ignore the Turkish facilitating the terrorists of ISIS and ISIL and Jabhat al-Nusra entering into Syrian territory. We cannot ignore and condone the fact that the Turkish government policies are behind the increasing level of violence in Syria. I don't know how in the world one could tolerate this kind of irresponsible Turkish policies towards Syria when the Turkish president himself sets 4 preconditions for helping the international community to fight ISIS and the terrorists in Ain al-Arab, Kobani. The 4 preconditions are a violation of the Charter, of the principles of international law. And still nobody is reacting, neither Mr. Ban Ki-moon himself, nor any of his aides or senior. Is wrong in this organization. The violation is not only political or humanitarian, the violation is also ethical. The Syrian people's suffering is not a matter of this bazaar, of this circus that sometimes we hear it in this organization. The suffering of the Syrian people should be regarded, seriously speaking, and dealt with very seriously. Mr. de Mistura said that he heard in Damascus, in Syria, the word khalas, enough is enough, and he was right. Enough is enough with regard helping the terrorists crossing our border through Jordan, through Lebanon, and through Turkey. The scourge of ISIS faced by the Iraqi people and the Syrian people is something that should trigger, seriously speaking, the so-called international community to combat terrorism, seriously speaking, in accordance with the Security Council resolutions 2170 and 2178. But it seems after months of the adoption of these 2 resolutions that the Turkish government did not hear about the content of these resolutions, that the Saudi government did not hear about the contents of these resolutions, and that the Jordanian government, which is a member of the Security Council, did not hear about the contents of these 2 resolutions. So, as I said, something is wrong, and we need to all of us, we need to open widely our eyes on this, to these facts, so that we don't make a wrong analysis of what's going on in Syria. The priority now is to put an end to these irresponsible and provocative Turkish policies towards Syria and towards the 2 Security Council resolutions, 2170 and 2178. We cannot be selective while combating terrorism. Being selective means you are not serious while combating terrorism. So this is the main point right now. I'm in your hands. Please.
هل ناقش السيد